Greetings. This is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers. I'm your host. Today we'll take a look at a recent film, The Mighty. This film was based on a novel by Rodman Philbrick of the same title. It has a screenplay by Charles Levitt, directed by Peter Hilson. It has photography by John DeBoerman, music Trevor Jones, the editor, by the way, Martin Walsh. The stars, Eldon Henson as Max Kane, Kieran Culkin as Kevin Dillon, Sharon Stone as his mother, Gwen Dillon. We have Gina Rollins as the grandparent, Graham, of Max. We have Harry Dean Stanton as the grandparent of Max Grimm. There are also appearances by Gillian Anderson as Loretta Lee and James Gandolfini as Max's father, Kenny Kane. Meatloaf makes a kind of a cameo type appearance as a character named Iggy. Cast of many. This is an interesting film, and in my opinion, a very good film, a mighty fine film, and I liked it quite a lot. I thought the production was quite good. The music, absolutely an ace for this particular film, and we thought it was well done. This is the first film, by the way, I can recall whose action was set in Cincinnati, Ohio. Maybe the legendary Peoria, Illinois will appear one of these days. At any rate, this film opens up with a kind of a music suggestive of medieval carnivals and jousts and so forth, as we have seen in previous films. So this sets a tone for romance, chivalric deeds, knights in shining armor, and this sort of thing, gallantry. We then have a few pictures. While this is going on, basically, there are pictures shown first of Cincinnati from kind of a skyline perspective, and then other streets in the milieu we're going to see. Fairly grim and seedy area, our lower economic milieu, which is the abode of the two lads. Now, the two lads are Kevin, who is a kid who is handicapped by birth defect. We see misshapen spine. He's bent over on crutches, has those that sort of fit on the forearm. He is a kind of a nerdy kid. But of these handicapped kids, he is the most sheltered, but the one who least wants to be sheltered. Max, on the other hand, is a kid who has a handicap of an environmental sort. He is not really sheltered, but he wants to be. He is self-sheltering. He is retreating, retiring from society, which he views as hostile to him. He also is shamed by his father, Kenny Kane, who is in prison. And he also has a kind of a subliminal psychological problem in that he witnessed his father murder his mother. It's not really right before his eyes, but he was there, and it's kind of like cloaked and so forth. But it creates problems for him, adjustment problems and so forth. He's also a very large kid. For a 7th grader, he's the size of a large man. He is viewed by his peers as something of a monster, and we have at one point him being described as a missing link by a kid named Blade, nicknamed Blade, the leader of a little gang terrorizing the neighborhood known as the Doghouse Gang. And his coach even refers to him as a Neanderthal, or wants to know if he should translate a message into Neanderthal to get some results from Max. So with this kind of social greeting, of course, it's not surprising that that he would want to retreat, and he does. He's for a big guy, he's very cautious. He's polite. He, in his own words, don't want to make no trouble. So it just seems to come to him anyhow. He is it, so to speak. He is told by Blade on a bus in which he's encircled by the gang and so forth, you're a freak, dude. You're a missing link, you know. So, nevertheless, the gang itself, the doghouse gang, while tormenting him a little bit, has a certain respect for him because of his size and muscle. In fact, Blade kind of offers him a position in the gang, but also because his father is in Langton prison, is known as Killer Kane. He has a certain prestige, at least amongst this gang. There's a group who no doubt have some wannabe hoodlums in there. So he does have that. But they taunt him with the little chant, Killer Kane, got a son who's got no brain. With all this on top of him, he is, and this withdrawing of his, he's not really a good student. He probably sees school as a hostile environment and totally, including the educational process. He is going to be changed by Kevin. Kevin is a Promethean figure. Kevin is a bringer of light. He is going to bring light to this backward, ignorant, withdrawn character and turn him into a full-fledged human. In fact, this narration, which starts the film by Max, says basically, Freak taught me everything. I never had a brain. Freak gave me his brain, and so forth. At the very outset, he says that Freak told me about this King Arthur and how he had this round table and how he got the bravest knights in all the world to come and sit at that table. And how King Arthur has said, we will be brothers and we will help the weak, and we will be terrible to the wicked. And so they are going to be a brotherhood that does good. So this is the idea. Unfortunately, as we all know, brotherhoods tend to be a little bit less ideal than this. Nevertheless, this kind of sets the tone. We get the film rolling with shots of Max and his environment, and he is sort of abused and looked upon. In the words of Blade, people either fear you or they laugh at you. You're a freak. So we get a sense of this from seeing the Max on the streets and so forth, the reaction to him, see him in school and the reaction to him and so forth. The reaction of teachers and the whole 9 yards. In fact, he even thinks that his grandparents, Grim and Graham, as he calls them, are basically stuck with him, and that's why they're so grim. But he likens them to the picture, the well-known picture of the farming couple, the American Gothic type, where the farmer's holding a pitchfork, thin and weazened and sober, and his wife also in the background, house, kind of a somber house in the fields in the background and so forth. I think by Whistler. But at any rate, this is the tone of the matter. We have a supper, and this all is kind of in a way a preamble. But at the supper, Graham mentions that they have new neighbors. It looks like a woman named Gwen Dillon. Of course, this immediately comes to the suggestion of Gwendolyn of Camelot and so forth. But at any rate, she is moving here from St. Louis, apparently, has a son who has some kind of physical handicap. Gina Rollins Graham notes that the good Lord gives women the cross to bear. And Harry Dean Stanton's Grimm says, well, could the good Lord get you to get me a cup of coffee? Well, anyway, we do get a cut to the new people in town. Sharon Stone gives a smashing, wonderful supporting acting in this film, and kind of reminds you that some of these Hollywood actresses, in fact, can act. She is really great in this. She is joking and quipping very affectionately with her son, who is kind of almost hidden in hobbycraft, magnifying glasses and so forth. He's working on some sort of flying critter. It looks like a plucked bird to me, but at any rate, some sort of aerodynamic creature thing, mechanical. She also is being hit by some good large words by him in way of explanation of his project. She then quips something like, "Congratulations, Ms. Dillon, you have given birth to a 7-pound dictionary." Good show. At any rate, a little peek over the fence by Max gives him a notion of his new neighbor. He notices also the bent back and the strange neighbor, Kevin. Next day in gym, we have the usual episode, a group of various sized lads. We have Max also there being abused by the coach as a sort of a Neanderthal. We have Blade and the Doghouse gang there. We see kind of scuttering down the steps and entering the far end of the gym, the figure of Kevin on his crutches and so forth. This causes Blade to quip, "Hey, look at the March of Dimes." He gets a basketball and rolls it boulder style and hits Kevin, sends him sprawling, then promptly blames Max for it. The coach irate sends Max over to help, plus punishes him a week in some kind of duty. At any rate, Max offers to help Kevin. Kevin declines, quipping about maybe you should go out and get a seeing dog for him or something. He deliberately, slowly gets up on his own and goes off. Now we have the narration continuing throughout this film by Max, and he notes that on the weekends, basically he helps Grim patch up the place, or it's LD, that's for the learning deficiency or dysfunctional, and a nice way to say dummy according to him. At any rate, he goes to a class to be tutored, and just to his astonishment is this kid, Kevin. Kevin identifies himself as the tutor and so forth, says, "Well, bring forth a book." Max says, "I don't have any." So Kevin gives him a book. It's King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Well, open up the book. That's part one, lesson one. Open it up, first step. So there's a certain animosity and kind of mocking abuse by Kevin of his new student at the outset. He thinks that he is actually the one who threw the basketball, after all. Well, they continue, and Kevin tries to give him to understand. He reads a little bit himself about Merlin, how he knew men's hearts, and how Merlin knew the future as well as the past, and therefore we see Merlin as a kind of a surrogate god figure here. But at any rate, he gives this to Max. Go ahead and read, and Max kind of stumbles and so forth. Kevin says, "Well, look, you know, each word is a part of a picture, and each sentence is a picture. So you just string together these pictures and you get the picture." Well, he then sends Max off to learn, get this done in 3 days, come back and we'll start again. "Can't do it," says Max. "Well, you got to." Well, anyway, he becomes more tolerant of his student when at the of this scene, the finish of this scene, Max blurts out, "I didn't throw that basketball at you, it was Blade." Kevin says, "What, are you a pacifist? Big lug like you? You didn't say anything? You're scared?" Max gives his usual, "Well, I didn't want to bother nobody." There it is, a kind of a realization of Kevin of his neighbor, a better understanding. The next day, he comes over and says to Max, "I'll give you a gold crown," meaning $5 bill, if you'll take me to a fireworks display that's going to be at the park. I can't go on my own. My mother would be afraid I'd be stomped to death or something, but a big guy like you, she'd let me go with you. Well, he agrees. They go to the park. They have words with Blade and the Doghouse Gang, which bad blood here. They do see the display. However, Kevin can't see anything because of the towering people around him. Down in front, he's yelling. Max notices the situation and lifts Kevin up on his shoulder, from which Kevin has an exhilarating time watching the fireworks, identifying each one by the chemical composition. Well, they get ready to leave, and they're assaulted by Blade and the Doghouse Gang. Max races about like a horse. He's being healed by Kevin, or slapped on the head, according to directions and so forth. They finally are pinned at a lake, and at the urging of Kevin, Max goes on out, even over his head for a little point. And they elude the gang. Police show up, and they're taken home. Grimm has always thought of his son as possibly, his grandson as possibly turning out like the father, Kenny Kane. Now, it's their daughter that Kenny Kane had married, and they're not related to Kenny Kane, don't like him, and so forth. But there is this feeling in the back of the head of Grimm that he may turn out to be just like his old man. When the police show up and bring Max to the door, he says, "I knew it," and all this kind of thing. But when the police open up and greet him, they say, "Well, you got a hero here. Max is a hero." Well, change of expression, and so we have also a little initiation right here by Grimm into manhood. He offers Max a real cup of coffee. Well, so it goes. That next morning, there's a rattling at the window, and Kevin rouses Max. "Come on, there's a quest. We have to go on a quest. There are dragons to slay, damsels to rescue, and so forth." Max doesn't want to have any part of this. "Go away, you almost got me killed last night. I almost drowned." Kevin replies, "Well, now, a knight of the realm fears not death." So he cajoles Max out of the bed, and off they go on a quest. After all, is the brains, and Max is the legs of the pair, their partnership now. So off they go. They go through this kind of an area, kind of a seedy area, gritty area of Cincinnati. Now and then along the way, we have what seem to be transformations in which we see knights in shining armor on steeds, or perhaps resting in a doorway or something. They make their way to a cafe, and inside they order 3 baby roots for nutrients, and they hear a hubbub in the back. Kevin notices, and it's some guy, perhaps a pimp, perhaps an unhappy customer, hassling a young woman. Kevin says, "Unhand that maid, you knave." Words to that effect. The man looks at, "What? What did you say?" Well, then Max gives a more forceful street-like expression, which sends the guy into retreat. This has the approval of all the customers. The young lady says thank you, and the baby Ruths are on the house. Off they go. That evening they have a meal at the Dillons. Max is eating as much as he can. They take this, of course, as a compliment. She does, and Max is dubbed by Kevin Sir Eat-A-Lot. We also get an indication of Kevin's problems in that he has a little choking period here at the table, which kind of prefigures what's going to happen. They go ahead and the next day go forth on another quest. They see some sort of rip and run by the Doghouse Gang, and the prize put down a manhole of some sort. This is noted by Kevin. They return, and that night, about midnight, Max is awakened by Kevin, kind of dressed up in a combination that looks something like a spelunker and a ninja, all in black and so forth, peculiar. He rouses Max to go. He says the Queen of Saxony has been robbed on the North Road. Our treasure chest taken. I know where it is. Let's go and save it. So they do go, and they get down and get the treasure chest, a purse. At this time, the Doghouse Gang and Blade appear with baseball bats and chains and so forth. Kevin kind of manages to get up on a fire escape at the back of the building, overlooking the alley, and this leaves Max there to confront the gang. He gets within him some sort of war feeling, grabs the grate, the manhole grate, and lifts it up high, both as a shield and a threatening projectile. One of the boys with a baseball bat strikes it. We see this rendered as a sword hitting a shield, and so it goes. The boys are then sent in retreat, the gang, and Max and Kevin get the purse. They note inside that there's a picture, Loretta Lee, and where she lives and so forth, plus 4 $100 bills, suggesting she may be a prostitute. Well, the next day, they go forth on the quest to take this thing back to the Queen of Saxony. They find her located in a kind of rundown, or running down, or going to pot complex. It looks like 3 high rises. They find her, knock on the door. She opens the door, and they kind of, what are you here for? We're here on a quest, says Kevin. She looks him over, and Max, and says, is the circus in town? Kind of laughing. She is intoxicated now. This causes a certain coolness on the part of Kevin. I believe this purse is yours. She notices this and then lets them in. As they enter, she's kind of mirthful about this whole thing, but she looks at Max and she says, hey, aren't you Kenny Kane's boy? And this completely turns off Max. Iggy, by the way, is there. He storms on off and so forth. He is followed by Kevin. Max goes off to a hilltop, kind of a bench on the top, away from all the people, and kind of retreating again into himself. Kevin joins him, sees a hubcap, and gets it and brings it over. He says to Max, where's the effect? My father was a magician, at least that's what my mother says, at the hospital when he was informed in regard to me of birth defect. He disappeared. He says, I don't know who he is, I haven't seen him, and really I don't care, because I know one thing, I am not him. He then kind of shows Max, a reflection of Max in the hubcap, and he says, you're not Kenny Kane either, you're Max. So they get a kind of an understanding, and they go out to a museum and go to a medieval section there, and there are 3 sets of armor. And Kevin notes one, that's Tristram the Strong, and that's Galahad the Pure. And that one there is Lancelot the Bold. He goes up still on the back of Max, takes the sword from one of the figures, and then he holds it up and says, in the name of God Almighty, in the name of St. Michael, and in the name of St. George, I knight us, Freak the Mighty. So we have a collective here. We have a kind of a brotherhood, and we see here the potential of Max becoming Kevin, that there's this possibility. We know that Kevin is ill, and we know that he is probably not going to meet adulthood. So in the way, he is making a continuance of himself in being reborn, as it were, in Max. In fact, in one episode, we see him point out a facility as one that's going to give him a new body, which we'll meet later. But at any rate, they do state that after this, Max does a narration that he never asked Kevin again about his father, and Kevin never asked him about Max's father, because that's not who they were. I think this is a very good point that this film brings up. I'm very much opposed to the materialism and biological environmental determinism and all that sort of thing. I think that you can pretty much overcome with the right perspective problems of that these kinds of kids had, and in fact they do.